How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Beards and Brews. This week's movie is going to be Snatch from the year 2000. My name is Eric.
I'm Brady.
And I'm Chandler. All right, this week we are doing Guy Ritchie's movie Snatch from the year 2000.
And boy, were we disappointed that it wasn't a porno.
Snatch, I honestly love this movie. Guy Ritchie knows how to make just a complicated mess of a film. It's got diamond heists. It's got people that don't know what they're doing. It's got pikeys, whatever that actually means. I don't know if that's derogatory or not, but
I think it's like an English redneck.
Yeah, well, it seems very, racial slurry.
I wasn't sure about that. I looked into it a little bit. They're supposed to be Irish, like Irish gypsies.
Tramps and
Weird.
thieves.
Yeah.
But we start out this movie with an introduction to Turkish and Tommy, who are one of the... they're two of the main characters here. You've got Turkish, played by Jason Statham, and Tommy, who is... I don't know the name of that actor. I didn't look that up. Yeah. But you got Jason Statham, starts out with, what do I know about diamonds? I'm a boxing promoter. Aren't they from Antwerp? And that's kind of where we start out at.
Yeah, so you got Benicio del Toro. He's got this amazing role as a real fun character as Frankie Four Fingers.
Frankie?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, buddy. Is he a good time? Especially every time it wants to cut to him with the Viva Las Vegas.
Yeah, the opening movie starts off with a little bit of a heist with Benicio del Toro. He's this guy is pretty fly for a rabbi. He's got a couple of him and his buddies are like trying to get into this little facility.
It's a really fun scene, especially Benicio. I just love that guy. Whenever I see him, I get happy.
So they're going through the security, and they pick up something, and he's like, "What do you want me to do? Drop my pants?"
Yeah, and what's cool about that scene is that not only are they going through security, this entire shot is filmed through like the little security cameras, the CCTV stuff.
And he and his crew are coming into this place to rob it. They're looking for a diamond, not just any diamond. They're looking for an 86 carat diamond the size of your fist.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks like a really transparent golf ball. It's like almost perfectly round. And I do have to point out, like, when they finally get into the room to steal the diamond from the cutters, they do it in like a really cool but really awkward way. Like, none of these guys are armed except for Benicio, and it turns out like he's got like 6 guns like strapped to a bulletproof vest under his little rabbi outfit. So when he exposes himself, like they all have to like reach around his body to pull out a gun to hold everybody up.
Yeah, it's a fun little scene, and not to mention that revolver, the revolver.
Oh yeah,
it's got
6 pounds piece or whatever.
Yeah, it's through the entire movie. It's something that Wyatt Earp could have used and just walked up, no, and bashed some red sash in the head. This movie takes off to the point with just snarky, asshole-ish lines that start right in the beginning and run the length.
It's true, this is like the most English movie I've seen in forever. Like, as soon as he pulls out the guns, or they pull out the guns, and they hold all these people up, the movie just has a seizure. It goes crazy. Like, the film just, like, spins and shit like a 12-year-old edited this in fucking MS Paint. It's ridiculous.
But in a good way, right?
It reminds me of old Batman, like, no, and the bat signal would fucking go at the screen.
Yeah, it was so wild that it took me aback. I'm like, is this fucking serious? Is this like, I'm gonna have to sit through this for 110 minutes or whatever? Is this gonna be the whole fucking movie? Chandler, what'd you do to me? My stigmatism, it's acting up.
At this point, it's cutting to Tommy, correct?
Yeah, the next scene cuts to Tommy talking about somebody wants a new caravan.
Yeah, this is when the interweaving starts. There's a lot of subplots that kind of wind around, and there's like one little area where they all kind of cross together, and it's much later on in the film. So just after the diamond is stolen, we go back to Turkish and his buddies and stuff, trying to get things situated in their little, like, I don't know, crime syndicate or what the hell ever.
I enjoy whenever it cuts to Tommy. He's in there talking to Boris about that same big-ass revolver. And then Gorgeous George, a fellow that we'll be introduced to a bit more later in the film, he walks in, he goes, I hope I'm not disturbing you. And then Tommy just hits him with, nah, I put the do not disturb sign on the door because I wanted you to join us.
This might be one of those movies where it's so hard to follow, but there are so many different quotes that I just want to keep barking out. Like, if we go back to that scene with Boris, that heavy is good, heavy is reliable. If it doesn't work, you can always hit him with it. It doesn't work, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. There's so much going on. I mentioned this before the cast, that this movie is very dense with just interweaving plots. There is a hell of a lot of foreshadowing. There's jokes. There's dark humor. It has so much going on at once that I legitimately stopped taking notes. Like, I got frustrated. Because it was ridiculous. There's just something everywhere.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I was taking notes, but I couldn't write fast enough to keep up with its pace, because 1 minute it would be with one group talking about this, and I'm like, oh, this would be a good, little toss-in joke. And while I'm writing that down, it's already moved on to an entirely other group, and there's a whole new set of things going on, and you're trying to keep track of these different names for the characters, and you got names like Turkish, Bullet Tooth, Doug the Head, Frankie Fourfinger, Gorgeous George, Top. Yeah, they've all got some little moniker.
Yeah. And then you also have like the three guys later on, which we'll talk about, the guys that Boris hires to knock over that joint.
You're gonna go rob a place.
Speaking of, so we have the setup of the diamond, so that is key. And just after that, we do have that little bit with Turkish and stuff, and they're just trying to get everything situated. George is planning to go in this boxing match later on, and he's supposed to throw it, so that way people can just bet on the other guy and win a bunch of money. It's all set up, all illegal, and that's kind of like subplot B.
And you've got Bricktop, who is this, area underground boxing promoter guy who organizes all these shady boxing matches. Bare knuckle boxing matches.
The zero remorse given by this character, Bricktop, throughout is great. He has some of the best lines, some of the best scenes. The British terminology they use is really fun. Like, there's a scene later on where he grabs a dude by the balls and he's like, I'm going to cut off your Jacobs.
Yeah, there's a lot of Jacob grabbing in this movie, by the way, just to put that out there if anybody's interested.
You get to see, what was his name, Big Gorgeous George. He's in there training, and he headbutts the, what the hell you call it, the punching bag. And while this is going on, you get to see in the background Jason Statham drinking milk out of a bottle. I don't really get that, but it comes into play a bit later again.
Yeah, that comes up a couple times in the movie, him just having milk randomly, nowhere, like a refrigerator nowhere in sight. He just has a bottle or carton of milk.
Maybe that's an English thing. I don't really know.
Oh, the milk bars, yeah, because Clockwork Orange.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Maybe
okay,
I don't know.
Welly.
So you get Big Gorgeous George, and he's doing his little training thing, and he headbutts this punching bag. And whenever he does, Tommy's like, is that legal? And then Turkish is like, it's not a tickling competition. And he gives Tommy 10,000 quid, I don't know, $10,000, and wants him to get a new caravan because theirs is falling apart. And Tommy goes, what's wrong with it? And as Turkish walks up to it, goes through the stairs, he tries to open the door, it falls off the hinges, and he goes, oh, nothing, Tommy, it's tip-top. I'm just not sure about the color. This shit's so good.
He just straight up just tears the door off of it. It's great.
Then he tells him that he has to get a new one from some gypsies in a campsite, and he's upset about this. And he goes, I gotta go to a campsite? And then Turkish again replies with another great line, caravans live in campsites.
And that turned out to be their folly, too. So they're supposed to keep George kind of, I guess, safe, because he does have to throw that boxing match later. So they go off to this area where horribly English Brad Pitt lives to buy a new caravan for their place, which they really didn't need in the grand scheme of things. They could have handled this later, but, movie can't movie without it.
We're also going to have to get that scene where he is walking and there's an obvious bulge in the front of his pants, and Turkish sees this and goes, "What's that?" Tommy replies, "It's my Gucci belt." And then he goes, "No, that." And he points at the obvious gun in these trousers. He's like, "What's that for?" And he says, "It's for protection." He says, "What do you need protection from?" "The Germans." And he's like, "Where'd you even get that?" And he goes, "I got it from Boris." He goes, "Boris the sneaky fucking Russian?" It's just the way that these guys have banter back and forth is flawless.
The dialogue in this movie is just incredible. If you can understand it, the dialogue is incredible.
Well, I took your advice before. I watched the movie with subtitles. It didn't help.
It didn't help.
No, all the lines that Brad Pitt and all those fucking weirdos had, it was unsubtitled.
Well, I think that's kind of the point from Mickey. You're not supposed to understand about half of what he's saying. You can pick up words here and there just like they can, but I think that's partially the point.
Yeah, and the whole pikey situation, whenever they get to that, is just fun. How they're almost like a anthill. Mickey is the queen ant. When he does something, they all move with him, and I think it's like an eerie thing to see.
Yeah, it's like Mickey and the Hive Mind or something.
Yeah, ooh, I like that.
But yeah, that's where they find Mickey. Like, he's the guy that has the caravan. They pay him some money, but they didn't really want to spend all that money, but they wind up doing it anyway because they didn't haggle at all. So on their way out, when they like hitched it to their car, they go like 20 feet, and then just the wheels fall off of it.
Yeah,
like the whole back axle.
Yes,
yeah, in one piece like a Lego. It's great.
It comes off, and the dog, or as they say, dag, that he got from jumps out the window and runs back to him. The gibberish accent that this man has, I thought that was impressive because it makes.
How you saw it.
Yeah, fuck! I need to cut out the whistle. You know, you just. You know, yeah, dags. But as that's going on, it then, you know, they had to find him, and there's this little kid. And I still feel weird about saying pikey because it just feels slurry. But there's a pikey kid that has a little scene where he goes, "Well, who are you looking for?" They tell him that they're looking for Mickey. He goes, "Oh, okay, yeah, I can take you to him." But he doesn't move. He just sits there. And then he catches on after the third time he asks the kid that he wants money. He goes, "Oh, well, once you give me $5, I'll go get him." And he's like, "I'm not giving you $5. I'll go get him my fucking self." And he goes, "Well, $2.50. And he's like, "No, I'll give you $1." He goes, "You're a tight fucker, aren't you?" It's just good. Like, everything in this feels believable from these characters. I think they're having a lot of fun, and there's a lot of really good chemistry out there. After that, we cut to Vinny and his boys, not Vinny Jones. Vinny is this heavy fellow that works at a pawn shop with Saul, and they have a large diamond, but it's not real. It's a big old cubic zirconia. They have a back and forth with some funny lines about that, and he tells him it's
worth fuck all.
It's worth fuck what? And then he goes, no, fuck all, because it's worth more than fuck what, but not quite as much as anything above fuck all.
So at that point, we're meeting Boris. Boris comes in. He has a job proposal for Saul and Vinny. It's to go hold up this bookie. He'll give him $50,000.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of see where this is going from here. Saul's going to go with Vinny to get a gun.
I enjoy the gun they get whenever they show up with this shotgun. He goes,
"Oh yeah,
it's a shotgun, Saul." He goes, "No, it's a fucking anti-aircraft gun. It's gonna shoot the clouds." He's just, the way they talk is fun. He's like, "You're gonna raise more than pulses with that thing. Perforate the moon."
This movie is like 100% just like they're all friends giving each other shit.
Exactly. It just sounds genuine because these guys
really
just
does.
sound like, if you're with your buddies and they're your actual friends, this is how you talk to one another. It's like, "I love you, man, but I'm gonna pick on you every fucking chance I get."
I was going to say, so then we go back to Tommy and Turkish with Mickey the Pikey.
It's actually just Tommy and Gorgeous George.
Tommy and George.
Yes.
And George is fighting Mickey.
Yeah, after they try to get away with their caravan and it fell apart, they obviously wanted their money back, and they're just like, why would I want that caravan? The wheels fell off, so.
And he's like, I fight you for it. And they don't know what the fuck he's saying. And then Mickey's mom is all distraught. And that's a good scene because Brad Pitt as Mickey is getting worked up that his mom's upset. He looks genuinely upset that his mom's having like a hard time with this. And he waits until she's good and away and then goes, I've had you for it.
But it's even greater. Not only is it because it's ridiculous, but like this is all pre-planned. Like this is all an act that they do all the time with people just to rough them up and just get what they want.
Oh yeah, 100%. This is their ploy.
It turns out, so we've got Mickey fighting against Gorgeous George, this big, brooding, bare-knuckle boxer.
Twice the size.
Easily twice the size, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it turns out Mickey is a gypsy bare-knuckle boxing champion and knocks Gorgeous George out with one punch.
Yeah, after getting just beat on.
Yeah, I thought like that was the joke, like him just getting just downright destroyed. But no. He took it like a champ that he is.
Yeah, in wrestling it would be called a no-sell. This guy's hitting him. He's like, nope. Just gonna stretch out these creamy hamstrings before I get you. Fucking Mickey, blip, knocks him out cold. And it starts playing one of the songs that I took from this film. Not to mention, this entire soundtrack is incredible. But there's 4 of these songs on here that I still listen to this day. And Golden Brown starts playing by the Stranglers, and it's perfect because this hit to the jaw, for whatever reason, has blood coming out every orifice of Gorgeous George's face.
Well, we find out later on, like, not only did it knock him out, but he had to wear some kind of, like, reconstructive brace just to hold his face together.
Fucked his day up. The Pikeys are figuring out whether or not Gorgeous George is going to get up, because if they just killed this man, they might as well kill Tommy, too, because they don't want the cops sniffing around.
Yeah, and he's in over his head, so he's just kind of, like, standing next to a wall, just kind of worrying.
So that turns into kind of the catalyst for the next part of this movie. They go back and obviously get the shit taken to him for getting George hurt in this fight, this meaningless fight with a pikey. What are they going to do? They've got this fight coming up where Gorgeous George is supposed to throw and make everybody a lot of money. What are they going to do? Tommy goes back to the pikey camp, and I'm still not sure if pikey's derogatory. I guess we'll find out if this podcast gets taken down later, but I'm going to keep saying pikey. He goes back to the pikey camp looking for Mickey to try and get him to come back and legitimate, I guess, underground boxing match for real money.
He tells him that he has to throw it in the 4th round because that's what Bricktop told him that he has to do, or bad things will happen. Grr.
I'm just over here enjoying the term legitimate illegal boxing match.
Right.
Yes.
As opposed to one that's in like a fucking barn.
So they end up talking Mickey into it, and then we cut back to Saul and his crew with that gigantic shotgun.
He's just hanging out in the back of the car, just so you know.
Yeah, they have a car full of people along with this big-ass dog, and they're trying to park the car.
Not only do they have a big-ass dog, they have a big-ass dude as their driver. His name's Tyrone, and he just comes out of the blue. Apparently he's like a professional with quotes drivers for, like, you know, shady deeds and stuff, but turns out he's just awful.
Terrible. He's trying to park, and he's struggling, and they're like, why didn't you park over there? He goes, it's too tight. And then it pans over to show you the area this man could have parked in, and it's fucking huge. And they, you know, rightfully so, begin to give this man shit for it. They're like, you could park a fucking jumbo jet over there. And the guy starts to, you know, not do well under the pressure, and he crashes the car into the van behind him in reverse. He goes, I didn't see it. And Saul hits him with a great line. It's not like a ferret fucking a flea, is it?
Well, the great thing about that is that in that van, turns out it was Frankie Four Fingers all along with the little suitcase with the diamond in it, because he was actually going to bet that diamond at the event.
Yeah. No.
Apparently the car hit the van so hard that, like, it knocked him out as he was trying to, like, fumble around in the back.
Funny thing is, this movie has so many little twists and turns and things that tie it together. Now, when Gorgeous George got hit by Mickey, the fight they had scheduled is canceled. Is canceled because, hey, they don't have their fighter and they got to use Mickey. Well, people aren't going to bet on this last minute, so all the bets are gone. And these guys go in to rob a bookies where all bets are off. And they walk in with that giant fucking shotgun, and the lady behind the counter is having none of it with her little bulletproof glass screen, and one of the fellas gets caught in the security gate and smashed to the ceiling.
Oh, that's amazing though. He just gets like munched by the little gate.
And Saul's not paying attention at the critical moment, so when he turns around, he doesn't see it. He's just confused. And then you have the shotgun. He's talking shit to this lady, and she's not having it, and he's going to threaten her, so he fires the shotgun. And when he shot this thing, this is just a 12-gauge shotgun, but this is the movie, and we're having fun. He shoots this shotgun, and it throws him across the fucking room. But it blows a hole in the wall next to the lady that he then uses to stick the shotgun through and threaten.
That actually turns out to be really convenient, because now he can actually, maybe get some money or something out of it. Except all bets are off. Pretty much all they've got left is a bag of copper coins, it's like a bag of quarters or something is all that he gets.
Change.
Quids or whatever they call them.
And
Quidditch,
I guess
whatever.
when he goes to grab that bag of coins, because he's not a professional or anything like that, he puts the gun down and she grabs it. These guys have no idea what they're doing.
No, not a clue. And they use their real names throughout.
Right.
Yeah, not only they're using their real names, but they're also on security footage this entire time with their masks coming on and off the whole time too.
So they get sequestered in this little blocked off section that's walled up by these security doors. They're pretty much conceded their fate. They're gonna, they're waiting for the cops to get there. And then reliable Tyrone comes in. What the fuck are you two guys doing? Come on, get out of here. Just opens up the door.
Because it was a push door and they were trying to pull. So they thought they were locked in. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, and they just gave up and cowered in the corner.
It's just, they're like, oh, I'm stuck. Shit, I got no way out. It was really good.
And then just right after that, it's almost like that whole mess was not double unnecessary, because as soon as they leave, Tyrone basically finds that four-fingered guy in the van after he falls out, stuffs him in the trunk, and they kidnap him. It all wound up kind of working out, but in the most messy fashion.
After
that,
the
suitcase is attached to his arm.
Yes, via handcuff.
So what would you do if there was a suitcase, a briefcase attached to this guy's arm, and it had 10 grand and a diamond in it? You got to chop it off, right? Why didn't you chop it off? That's what a guy like Boris would say.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what Boris says. Yeah. So they get back there with Boris, and these guys, again, just to let you know that they were using their real names. When Boris arrives to try to help them out with this situation, they call Boris by his real name. So he just takes out a gun, boom, fucking shoots.
No more cranky four fingers.
That's the end of Benicio.
Viva Sad Vegas.
Leaving Las Vegas. Right there.
There we go.
Yeah.
After that, it's got the fight with Machine Gun Mickey. And he knocks dude out with one fucking punch, which does for well with Bricktop and the higher-ups.
Oh, dude, time stood still for everybody because Jason Statham and the other guy totally knew that their shit was just...
They were fucked. Proper fucked.
Then you have, whenever they try to return back to the gym looks clean, clear. It's okay, it's safe to go in. So they go around back. Turkish sneaks in. Everything seems fine, but he's not paying close attention. This reminded me a lot of the scene in Pulp Fiction, whenever Bruce Willis goes home to get his watch. Everything seems fine, so he's making a Pop-Tart. Out walks John Travolta. There's an Uzi. Spoilers. He's going to put tea on. Tea kettle's already out. So Errol, this one fella, and there's another guy, little hench cronies of Bricktop, are there. Bricktop arrives, and he goes, put a kettle on. Turkish, without arguing, immediately does. Asks if he wants sugar in his tea.
Oh, he's like, no sugar for me, thank you. I'm sweet enough. And just casually strolls along, not like he's like a crazy murderer or anything.
It's
this cute little grin, too. Like, a cute little grin with these ugly, hideous, yellow English teeth. No offense to the English out there, but it's kind of adorable. And
he's so proud of himself.
Yeah, well, this is a guy who's probably been doing this for years and years, so...
And he tells them that they got another fight to schedule, and he's going to need Mickey back. And Jason Statham says, of course. And Bricktop hits him again with just these fucking one-liners that come out of nowhere. Just the snarky asshole quips all through this film are amazing. If anything, watch it for the quips. They just nail him with them. And he says, of course. And Bricktop just immediately goes, of course, a fucking course. And then we get a flashback because they want to find Frankie Four Fingers due to the diamond, and they flash back to the introduction to one of the characters that, even to this day, I still get confused with another movie, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Bulletproof Tony, aka Benny Jones. It's like 70s-ish due to the grainy film. It looks really neat. I guess maybe a filter or something. But he kicks in the door to his buddy, and he's like, what are you doing snorting up all that coke? It's not yours. They use the term gear. And so dude just pulls out a gun and starts shooting him 4 times.
Oh, yeah, right in front of all those titties.
Yeah, just blah, 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 blah. And Vinnie Jones's character just goes, oh, you silly cunt.
He's like, I shoot you. You're supposed to fall down.
Yeah, go down, boy, go down. It's like what you would talk to your, British term. It's what you'd say to your wanker after too many little blue pills, And he shoots him again, this time in the fucking teeth. And it goes through his front teeth and out his cheek, and he gets this little slur. Now you're in trouble. It's just...
Oh, yeah, then he pulls out like a blade out of nowhere. I think it was like a sword or something. Something ridiculous.
There's a lot of that in the movie. Things come from nowhere, like a video game, Magic Pockets. They're just there all of a sudden.
Little in the beginning of the movie, where Benicio del Toro is like having an outfit change or whatever during a phone call.
Yeah, and there's a scene later whenever Tommy goes to, try to talk to Mickey's mom to get him, to fight for them, and he just suddenly has flowers. He didn't have them in the car that you get to see. He just fucking has them all of a sudden.
Just whoop, right down the sleeve. And after that, the next part, we've got Saul and his crew trying to get rid of this body. Because they've got a body, they don't know what to do, they're not professional murderers or anything, and then Bricktop shows up. Is this a bad time? Goes on this little rant, not really a rant, but just an explanation. You got to cut the body into 6 pieces, then you got to get rid of those pieces. You got to feed them to pigs. Be wary of a man who owns a pig farm. You got to have at least 14 pigs. And
they eat like 2 pounds of raw flesh every minute.
But you got to make sure the pigs haven't been fed for a few days, but then they'll go right at it. They'll cut through bone like butter, and then they just look back at him like, who are you?
Besides the guy who obviously feeds people to pigs.
Right.
Hashtag Hannibal.
At this point, hashtag Hannibal.
I see what you did there, and I like it.
So, he gives these guys kind of an ultimatum, gives them 48 hours to retrieve the diamond they lost or whatever. And at the same time as this is going on, you have Cousin Abby and his bodyguard flying over from New York and everything because they don't know where Frankie Four Fingers is. He flies Concorde, by the way, which is very fancy and totally obsolete nowadays. He gets over pretty quickly, and he just tries to sort everything out because he knows he has a gambling addiction, and he knows that he would have bet that diamond at the match.
So Tony goes to this character named Mullet to find out who robbed the bookie and why. And once Tony finds out that it was Saul and his group that robbed the bookie, he and Abby goes to find them to forcefully ask who put them up to it. And at that point, it's Saul who tells them it was a Russian guy named Boris.
They trail along a little bit, and they finally catch up to Boris, and they do kidnap him, and he does have the diamond on his person.
Right. This is really a point in time when all of these different paths are intertwining, and you've got a lot of scenes jump cutting, and
it becomes a bit of a soap opera with the bouncing at this point.
And then we have a scene where we find out that Bricktop has had Mickey's mom's caravan torched while she was evidently in it, asleep, to try and persuade him to fight this next boxing match.
Yeah, since he didn't want to do that. They also vandalized the Turkish arcade. I mean, just picture sweaty dudes naked playing pinball, but I don't know. But yeah, they go in there and they tear apart his arcade since he's kind of failing to motivate Mickey, and they burn the caravan with Mickey's mom inside, and Mickey is distraught, and I really enjoy that scene with the fire and the lighting, Mickey trying to get back into the caravan, and then, the other gypsies pulling him away. He seems calm, but it's just calm enough so he can try to rush back in again.
And a great use of soundtrack here with Angel by Massive Attack. So good.
So now he agrees to do the fight, and that's all set up.
Pretty much every main character is on their way somewhere. So there's Turkish and Tommy. They're headed towards, I forget where, but you also have Avi and the Russian guy and everything, and of course, fucking Jason Statham drinking milk in his car for whatever the fuck reason. There's some argument about how humans aren't really able to digest lactose anymore, so Tommy just grabs it out of his hand, throws it out of the window, unknowingly throws it onto that guy's car. It lands on the windshield and they wreck.
How convenient. Yeah, Abby and Tony wreck, and they slam into a pole, and Boris, who's in the trunk, escapes from this mess.
Sneaky fucking Russian.
But he doesn't get too far. He kind of stumbles out into the road. I did kind of laugh quite a bit because he's blinded. He has a bag over his head, but he's kind of like feeling around with his feet of where to go, but he's kind of like running in a circle.
And then something we forgot about is, in preparation for all this, Saul and his boys, they needed guns, so I guess Saul got a hold of some replicas. I mean, they look just like the real thing, and they'll do the job. Because nobody wants to get shot, right? So they should be absolutely fine to do this. Right.
Well, I think they were following
Avi and Tony.
Yeah, because they fall into that bar. Afterwards.
Yeah, they follow him into the bar. They confront Tony,
which is a great scene. They pull guns on him, and Tony is sitting down. Vinnie Jones, just being the guy that he is, he looks amazing. He's sitting there, and they have the guns drawn on him, and he looks up at it. They're talking all this shit, threatening to shoot him, all that kind of things. And he goes, that would be kind of scary if your gun didn't say replica down the side.
The fact that you've got replica written down the side of your gun, and I've got Desert Eagle 5.50 written on the side of mine, should precipitate your balls shrinking along with your presence. Now, fuck off.
And fuck off they do.
That's such a good line.
And it's like just a little bit later, as they're fucking off, by the way, you have cousin Avi. He's just like in the bathroom, or whatever. He has like the suitcase and everything. He has it like held like his child. And Vinny and the boys, they wind up in the same like little hallway and everything. And they point the fake guns at him and like, hey, hand the suitcase over. And he's just like, hey, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then Boris comes in the opposite end of the hallway with his fucking assault rifle that he got from his house after being hit by the car. And he's like, hey, give me the suitcase. And he's like, know what? Fuck you too.
Yeah, at one point, I don't know if you remember, at one point earlier in the movie, way before, they introduced him as Boris the Bullet Dodger.
Yes.
And that comes back into play here. So Tony is just unloading cap after cap into him. He just kept coming back, fuck you. And then he unloads more. Fuck you. And then finally he, I guess, ends Boris the Bullet Dodger.
But it's only a moment later whenever Tony himself is ended.
Oh, that's right. So you have Avi, him, and Vinny and the boys. They all go back to like the little pawn shop or whatever that they had or whatever. And they're like kind of fooling around because they don't want to know, or Vinny doesn't want the other guys to know that he has a diamond on them. So like there's like, oh, it's around here somewhere. It's probably in this little box or something. They find some random boxes like, oh, it was in here. Like trying to make it feel like they got ransacked and that somebody made off with it or whatever.
Well, you know what the perfect beer for ransacking is? This week's beer is Samuel Smith's Taddy Porter. Samuel Smith Old Brewery it's actually the oldest brewery in Yorkshire, founded in 1758. This is their premier porter, brewed with barley, hops, yeast, and actually with sugar cane.
Ah, it's a sugar taddy. Mm.
That's right.
Perfect.
It's a very solid, well-made porter. Lots of dark roasted malt notes, coffee, hazelnut. Just a good, solid porter.
It's the kind of beer that makes you ask, huh, who's your Taddy?
I like that. Now, Chandler, I gotta ask, where'd you go to get this one?
I actually went to the brewery in Yorkshire, Tadcaster, Yorkshire, England. No, I didn't. No, I just got it here locally.
And by local, you mean 2 blocks away at the Drug Emporium?
Pretty much, yeah.
So at this point, he finds the diamond. Everyone's like, yeah, ha, ha, ha. We have the diamond. Now everything is coming together. It's all working out in favor of Avi finally. Him and Tony are getting their diamond. It's all going to work out. Well, this fucking dag that has just been farting in cars and roaming around and being a general nuisance throughout the movie.
But he's pretty cute. That's a cute dog.
Dag.
Yeah,
Okay?
it's a cute dag.
It eats the diamond. Num 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 num. Just fucking swallows it up, and it takes off running. And Abby tries to shoot it, and inadvertently,
Yeah, he grabs he grabs the Desert Eagle and just starts firing just miscellaneously around the room or whatever. Like he's so shocked that a dog just ran off.
And in the blind gunfire, he accidentally shoots Tony.
I sincerely don't know how that happened. Because, like, I know he fired wildly, but Tony was just, like, on the far side of the room, and he just kind of, like, I don't know, stormtroopering it up, I guess. And he just fucking wound up over there somewhere.
because that's the only way that you can kill the man is by accident.
Fair enough.
I think we've got a theory there.
So after he gets killed, this dog runs away. Abby's had fucking enough. Flies back to New York, and we cut once again back to the fight. Bricktop, Tommy, Mickey, Turkish, and all of...
Bricktop has threatened the entire Pikey community at this point.
Oh yeah, he's gonna kill them all like he did Mickey's mom if they don't comply.
And before this fight was actually Mickey's mom's funeral, and I guess the Irish really like to get wasted at the wake.
Sir, that is a stereotype.
Well, I mean...
You're fine.
Come on. Evidently, they like to get pretty drunk at their relatives' wakes. And that is definitely something that happened here. Mickey got absolutely shit-faced.
Oh, absolutely. Like, he thought that his, whatever kind of gibberish was worse through the rest of the movie. Now it was just, like, drunken gibberish, which is, like, a double whammy of just bullshit falling out of his face.
He's so messed up that Turkish is horrified. You know, he's sure that this man can't fight and he's gonna die.
So through this fight, they have this balance that they're teetering on. They have to worry about, is he going to be able to fight at all? On the same scale as, is he hopefully not going to actually knock this guy out? Because either way, we're fucked. We're proper fucked.
Well, what they don't know is, in the background, all the guys who were sent to kill the Pikeys are in fact getting killed themselves.
The Pikeys had a plan.
Oh yeah, there's an M. Night Shyamalan twist.
Yeah, so the fight goes along and everything, you know. Mickey does get his shit pushed in quite a bit, and he does make it to the 4th round, so everybody's kind of just like, alright, here it is, you know, no more bullshit. We're finally just gonna get this done.
And he actually gets knocked down a couple good times during this fight. And each time you're like, is this it? But he keeps getting back up. He gets knocked down again in the 4th round, and he's like, all he's got to do is stay down.
Yeah, he gets knocked down, he gets up again, you ain't ever gonna keep him down.
It's a Chumbawamba song.
That.
But he gets back up.
Again. Okay. But
You ain't ever gonna keep him down.
Just keep doing that for 20 minutes. Fuck it. So he gets back up, and then finally, blam, he just knocks dude out.
Yeah, he finally just, like, summons that iron fist that he had the whole movie and just, like, knocks this dude cold.
It turns out Mickey had money on himself. So he knew what he was doing, right? He had a plan all along.
Not only that, when they finally got escorted outside to basically be shot like dogs, you hear a shot ring out, and everyone panics except for Mickey.
At this point, the Pikeys unleash their gypsy vengeance upon these mobster types.
The goons.
Yes.
It was like the Red Wedding, coming out of the woodwork and just murdering, except in a good way, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
murder in a good way. I like it.
I don't know. It depends on whose side you're on. I was on the side of the Pikeys.
And Mickey wins all this money. They then go on to disappear.
Team Statham, or Steakums.
Team Steakums.
Well, really, the only real good guy, the only real good boy in this whole thing is Daisy the dog.
Oh, Daisy.
Oh, squeakers.
So anyways, these fellas, they pull an M. Night Shyamalan twist. The gypsies come out of nowhere. They save Mickey from execution.
Yeah, so the next morning, Turkish and Tommy find the campsite they had. They're just completely empty and everything. And the police show up. That's it.
Yeah, and they're talking to Tommy. And I think Saul and his boys show up too, but they're frightened away by the cops, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they get shaken down like a little earlier in like their little driveway or whatever. But Tommy and Jason Statham, they play a little clever note. Like they noticed that the dog was running around. It's like, hey, we're just out here walking our dag.
And so Tommy's chasing it, and he goes, oh, he loves playing silly games with his silly dog. And they get it, and it eats a squeaky toy. And so they have to take it to the vet to get the squeaky toy out. And they also
did they get out?
The big fucking diamond. That big diamond. So who do they call? Avi. And the movie starts all over again. Might as well call it Snatch 2, Yoink. But that's all I got for Snatch. I thoroughly enjoyed the film. Its runtime, to me, is one of the biggest detractors. The way it's shot, it jumps around a lot.
It's not even really that long. It feels like it's running longer than it is.
Yeah, it's an hour 40 and it feels long.
Well, I think I know why that is. It's because this movie does not have a 3-act structure. It's just like a bunch of plot points just kind of like spaghetti together, and they kind of intersect at one point, and then the movie kind of makes sense. So there's no real like, it's all just forward motion instead of an arc. So there's like the movie is filled with a lot of those dialogue scenes that we really like, but there's not a whole lot going on until the movie has to like abruptly change into the next bit.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So if you're going to go out there and you watch this movie, enjoy the dialogue.
The dialogue is easily the best part of it for me.
It's the film for sure. You could watch this with dialogue only and still enjoy it. It could have been,
but maybe
radio.
Turn the subtitles on so you can actually understand what they're saying a lot of the time.
Not really puns, but just back and forth that like only you and your good buds have.
It's like sandpaper banter.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like everybody in this movie is a big ass bully.
And the only way to get over is by having a better quip than the dude who you're talking to.
Either that or a nice brew.
Like Samuel Smith's Tadcaster Taddy Porter.
My sugar Taddy.
So there we have it. Our movie for this week, Snatch. Thank you very much, Chandler, for recommending this one. We will spin the wheel to see what we have next week, but we'll keep it a surprise for everybody listening.
I just want to say, get out there. Follow us on the Twitters at the Beards and Brews. Our Facebook page.
On Twitter, we are at Beards Brewscast. On Facebook, we are Beards and Brews.
So yeah, get out there, like us, follow, subscribe.
Thanks for listening.
Yay!